The following is a special presentation of the PDF Sports Network.
You know I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, entrepreneurship, and so much more. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese. And Joe, we're welcoming back a guest here today from one of our first 3-4 guests before you even part of the show. And
Right.
everybody knows that I book close to 100% of the guests. Yeah. Somehow you were able to book him today on 2 hours notice.
I mean, amazing. And originally, we wanted to record this episode for the next day as it relates to this day in particular. He was one of the very first guests, one of the very first friends you ever made back in Secaucus in New Jersey.
Back in Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Bleacher
Back in
Midtown,
Manhattan. That's
baby.
right. That's right. Wow. Holy moly. We're talking, you said 2016, right? Before we started recording this?
Correct. Yep.
Holy moly. Before they moved up their operation across the river. Wow.
So we're talking at Bleacher Report, me and Steven were at.
That's right.
Bleacher
Bleacher Report, MLB Network, NHL Network. And let me tell you something. The late Vince Scully was in that broadcast job with the Los Angeles Dodgers for what seemed like forever. And I
PR.
gotta say, I don't think they could have found a better replacement. We're very, very happy to have him on. And again, 2 hours notice. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. Thanks for joining us on short notice very early here. We welcome back Steven Nelson to the show. Now, Steven, this is your second appearance. I'm pretty sure when it comes to I'm Right guests, as of right now, you take the cake for the longest period in between I'm Right appearances.
5
You'll have a
years.
couple of appearances to go before you match our wonderful friend Adnan Burke, who we didn't even text. I'm sure if I texted him, if I had time to, he would have been on today, but I'm sure he misses you. But how are you doing today? Welcome back.
It's great to be back, fellas. First and foremost, you talk about replacing. I just want to make sure, Joe, that I'm not Joe Davis. Joe, I think I can get Joe on the line.
Joe Davis is barely on in the air. It's always every time you turn MLB Network quick pitch, you hear Steven Nelson.
No, man. No, I appreciate you guys, and yeah, it's been a long time coming. Both since Durst and I were doing Facebook live shows.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
We remember Bleacher Report when it was lowercase b and lowercase r before it was capital B and capital
Good old
R.
days.
Yeah, exactly. We were OG Bleacher Report days. So nearly a decade later, and it seems like nearly a decade since the last time I was on this show. I know our dear beloved friend Adnan Burke AV has been on a dozen times in between my appearances. So I got some catching up to do.
Shout out to the author, Adnan Burke.
That's right.
I hope he makes time for us on his book tour.
All I'm saying is we moved into a new place a couple months ago. I'm not a learned doctor. I don't have a lot of books, but Adnan, there's a space on the bookshelf for a personalized copy. We're all just saying.
There we go.
Right.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen. So Steven, obviously you work some late nights, and then you got the kids, early mornings.
Yeah.
But what's that first app you're checking on your phone when you wake up?
So it's Nanit app. It's basically the baby monitor app. That's usually the first one I'm checking, and by checking I mean closing, because now it's like the morning and the damage has been done. There's no turning back. Either they slept or they didn't.
Rise and shine.
And now it's time to get up. So I'm closing that one. I think it's typically the text to see if anything happened. Especially my younger sister right now is expecting her third baby at any moment. So that's been the first thing. And then if you want me to get to the social media apps, it's usually IG. It's usually Instagram.
Interesting. You're an Instagram.
I like the text answer, because that's, to me, would be the most common answer. That's me, but people are just like, they always tend to say social media.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, some people want the dopamine hit right away. Like, let's just get the body flowing. Instagram, I'll say this, Joe, the reason why Instagram, it's just a friendlier algorithm for me. You know what I mean? Like, I've become very strategic in limiting my time on the hell site, formerly known as Twitter. So I'll just go to IG where I know it's going to be it's friends and family. I got dog stuff. We get sports stuff.
Right.
So it's just like it's a warmer welcome to each day
Right. So let's
compared to
let's
the
talk
other one.
about sports highlights, right? I'm pretty sure when you're scrolling Instagram in the morning, you're looking through White Sox highlights. So, do you still have any love and attachment for the Chicago White Sox? Is it difficult at this point?
So the White Sox just came to Dodger Stadium last week, right before the All-Star break, and that was my first time calling a Dodgers White Sox series. It's my third year now in the Dodgers booth. So it was my first time working the series, and I was getting all kinds of texts. And I went on with WGN in Chicago, one of the the superstation out there, and uh, um, they were kind of asking me like, "Oh, what's it like to like now be rooting against the White Sox?" And I'm like, "That's not a thing." I was a diehard White Sox fan for 30 plus years of my life. That doesn't just die. You know what I mean? That doesn't just go away. I'd be lying if I tried to pretend that it did. I still got White Sox jerseys and hats and shirts in the closet.
Yeah, and he's at the Hawaiian slash Dodgers hat in the White Sox color. It's right now.
In black and white, right? Now you get just to remind us of that me of my miserable
Bears.
football fandom.
Oh, Bear.
Yeah, exactly. So
Steve,
no,
speaking of the Bears, though, like we get into the fall here, you're gonna be watching the Bears or the Ryder Cup when they're on at the same time.
both. Yeah, no, the right. Wow, you got. I mean, now we're getting after it here. Like golf is. So I'm a washed up D3 high school golfer. Still play like every now and again, and it's a lot more fun now because just getting out. But the Ryder Cup is like my favorite event in sport, really. Like I as a teenager, like I used to, when it was overseas, I would wake my ass up at the crack of dawn and watch the first matches go off. And yeah, I love the Ryder Cup. So that, I mean, it depends on what the Bears are looking like at that particular weekend. There's who gets the top screen or the big screen. But I'll be toggling. Like the Bears, there is a lot of optimism and excitement. But I've been through this song and dance before many a times, so I'm dead
Yeah.
inside, and so I know that winning the offseason doesn't mean anything. The Bears usually find a way to mess it up. But getting back to the White Sox Dodgers juggling, like obviously I'm bleeding blue now, right? Because being a part of the Dodgers family and growing up out in Southern California, a lot of my aunts and uncles and cousins are huge Dodger fans. So I've always kind of had that. A part of my blood. I never, but yeah, the White Sox will always be a part of me as well.
Fair enough. So since you were on the show 5 years ago, lots of changes.
Yeah,
First, we'll talk about you becoming the host of IT. Just taking over for Chris Rose.
we're really
I
going.
I know it was
Yeah,
a heated competition between you and somebody else, but you got the job. So
yeah, and
what was
man,
that like for you to get your, essentially 5 days a week? I know exactly what I'm going to be on. No more 1 o'clock in the morning shifts. I'm going to get up early. I know I'm going to be on at the same time every day.
yeah, that was a life changer for sure. Like obviously under you know crummy circumstances. I forget if you can curse on this pod. So, but I'll being a father of toddlers now, practice what I preach and don't say the bad words. So yeah, that it was crummy circumstances, right? Because I think Rosie had earned the right to go out on his terms, but
Right.
unfortunately, that's not how this business or life works. And we all know that. We know what we signed up for, and it was just the way the world was at that time. It made, from a business standpoint, it made really awful and terrible and tough decisions too easy to make, if that makes sense, right? You
Hmm.
just remember everything that was happening in the world. And so, yeah, like on one hand, having filled in on that show and worked with Millar before, like knowing that that was going to be my day to day was super exciting. But then also being somebody who grew up watching that show and watching Rosie on Best Damn Sports Show, period, and and having such a respect and appreciation for all he had done in the business, like didn't love how it was happening. And then that, that created its own difficulties too, because the viewers were having that same fight. And that's how it is that's human nature, right? They can't just, we're all ice cream flavors, and people, so you might be a vanilla guy, Durst, and Joe, you might be a chocolate guy. Now, Nick, you may also appreciate swirl or like the other flavor, but some are like staunch opponents of the other flavor. And then here I come along, I'm Rocky Road or mint chip or whatever the hell you want, the flavor you throw out there, and you're like, nope, I can't do that. I'm not doing that. And that's the way it is. And so, taking over for that show, it was like I was the chocolate to roses vanilla, and it was like, no, we can't. I'm just not gonna. I can't handle this. And so, yeah, that was the tough part. But like those 2+ years of doing the show were just a tremendous amount of fun. It was stealing money. Like it was hardly a job like that, and because that was hardly a TV show.
30 minutes a day in the winter.
Yeah. It was like, the whole show is just like making fun of each other, making fun of ourselves, and having fun covering the day-to-day of Major League Baseball, which is really, that's kind of how it should be. And knowing that, like, we were on in clubhouses every single day, and having players and coaches come up to us whenever, when I was traveling, doing play-by-play, doing games at that same time, like, it was such a huge boost of confidence. And it was a blast. We did some stupid stuff, but it was a blast.
So, Joe, Steven's great because, in my opinion, he has impeccable timing as far as being able to get out of a place before it goes to the shits. Because, in my opinion, his two previous employers after he left, shortly after, went downhill. But we won't talk about that on his end. But Steven, at MLB Network, you're doing those. You're doing the junior hockey play-by-play. You're doing MLB. So, what was it like to be able to build that portfolio? And ultimately, how did you parlay that into your current job with the Dodgers?
Yeah. So, I'm gonna. Conveniently, some of that audio that it cut out, so I can't address everything that Durst was alluding to there. But this whole, honestly, like I feel like my career is just another example in an infinite line of examples of how it's all about luck and timing in this industry. I mean, when I was finishing school, I graduated a semester early because I wanted a head start on, the job hunt for the rest of the class, not just at Chapman University, but the entire class of 2011. I wanted to get out in front of them. Well, the extra semester didn't do me any good. I walked at the same time, no job. A couple months after graduation, no job. Couldn't find anything. I took an unpaid broadcast internship at Rockford, Illinois, working for a minor league hockey team. That whole season, I was applying for jobs, local reporter, news anchor, sports reporter, multimedia journalist in all Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Minot, North Dakota. Like the didn't matter what market in the country I was applying for jobs, and I was getting this many of them. I wasn't even getting emails back. And so finish a year in Rockford, I'm going to move back home and go back to being the Jumbotron camera guy for the Angels and the Ducks like I was in Chapman. And I stopped to see my girlfriend, now wife, Corey, who was working in Grand Junction, fired off the same email I had done 1,000 times before to Eugene, Oregon. And 3 days later, I'm having a phone interview. And 2 weeks later, I'm driving up to Oregon to move there for my first job. So but it didn't happen for a long time. So it was luck and timing creating that opportunity.
Right. And full circle now with your boy Michael Conforto.
So exactly. So and Mike and I laugh about that all the time because we were basically first met when we were kids. Like I was out post college and he was in college, and now it's like we're raising kids. But Bleacher Report, luck and timing. I happen to be represented by the same agency that repped Adam Lefkoe, and Lefkoe told his agent, "Hey, we're going to be hiring another host and anchor, send some reels." And my reel was among the batch that they sent over, got an audition in New York City. It's my first ever audition. Thought I was going to be terrible. Didn't sleep a wink because I was going from Eugene, Oregon, and I'm staying in a hotel like by Central Park in New York City. Like this is dumb. And like they had veteran anchors that are auditioning for the same role. I'm not going to get it. I thought I was going to go to Houston because I auditioned there the very next week after Bleacher Report. And lo and behold, I get the job at BR. Like, again, luck and timing. I'm at Bleacher Report for, well, whatever it was, 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. And Dana Collins, who is one of the esteemed producers at Bleacher Report, her husband, Chris Collins, is a producer at MLB Network. And Chris told Dana, like, hey, like, you know, we're looking for another host, like Paul Severino. He's leaving MLB Network to go take the Marlins play-by-play job. And so sent off my reel, got an audition, and got the job, all because Paul Severino took a job somewhere else, created an opening at a place that had a connection to the place I was currently working at. So like luck and timing is everything, man. So that's the long preamble to get to your actual question, which was now like going to MLB Network and NHL Network from BR, which didn't really give a shit about baseball or hockey at all. And those were two of my favorite sports. Like now I got to live and breathe it day to day. It was just epic. And then, but I was just going in as sort of this host and anchor. And when they asked me, hey, do you want to do play-by-play? You said in your interview and your audition that you did play-by-play for the Rockford Ice Hogs. And I was like, yep, I did say that. I did 2 games and they're all dog shit, but like I did do it. So I answered the question truthfully, not fully. It's like, well, yeah, Severino also did our World Junior Championship game, so we'd like you to do the play-by-play. And I'm like, you fools. But sure. And I did that tournament for 5 years or whatever it was, but that was my really first foray into play-by-play. So it is sort of
one of your best calls of all time, red, white, and gold.
Oh, red, white, blue, yeah, blue and gold, yeah. That one. Gosh, I just wish that we were there, but it was the bubble tournament, right? So I wish we could have been there calling those games in person because that would have been epic. And working with Dave Starman made me so much better. I listened to that first tournament I did in 2018, 2019, and it was like, it's like that meme of I was the soccer coach. Is it Marine? I'm not a soccer guy, so I'm not. There's where he's taking off the headset because he can't listen to it. That's how I am now listening to really all my games, but especially the ones that I used to do early. So yeah, to go from that where it was like just dipping my toe in, doing the World Juniors and doing the Arizona Fall League, to now like calling Dodger games, it's kind of stupid. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but again, luck and timing is everything.
The childhood dream came true, right?
No, man, I can't even say that, Joe, because I didn't dream this big. I really didn't think the whole reason I got the Dodgers opportunity is because, they were watching me do the Apple games, which I only was doing because MLB Network was producing them.
Mm-hmm.
So again, luck and timing and being self-aware, I was a hell of a lot cheaper to just have somebody already on the MLB Network payroll do the games as opposed to hiring a big-time play-by-play announcer. And so the Dodgers, again, I don't know what they heard, but they reach out like, hey, you have interest in joining the Dodgers? And I'm like, in what capacity? Like as a play-by-play broadcaster. I'm like, again, well, why? Why are you talking to me?
April 1st? Was it April 1st?
Yeah, there was a double. I couldn't. That was like the lowest point of my professional career, that 2022 season. And so to get that message, like, and we can get into that if you want, but like to get that message, it was just sort of like knocked me back. I'm like, what, the Dodgers? So it's.
I mean, like Stevens, everything works. Severino goes to the Marlins. You come into MLB Network. Joe Buck goes to ESPN. Joe Davis is going to go do some stuff for Fox. You go to the Dodgers. So it's just a lesson that you can't control everything. Everything has to just align properly.
There are countless play-by-play announcers who have put more time in than I have, who are more talented than I am, they just haven't been as lucky yet. And again, I am self-aware enough to acknowledge that fact. And so that's why I say every time, I go to work and I walk into the Vin Scully press box and walk into that broadcast booth, I don't take it for granted. I know that I got to earn it. I got to earn it. Because we're all replaceable in this business and in this life. Every single one of us. Doesn't matter what we've accomplished. We're all replaceable. And so, you can't lose sight of that. Because if you do, and then you have that ego and that self-importance and that arrogance, then, as they say in baseball, the sport will humble you, the business will humble you. And so I don't want to get to that point.
All right. So you bring up self-awareness.
Yeah.
Okay. How has it been working without Nick? What was the best part of working with him? And is he the biggest star no one has ever heard of?
Okay, there are layers to that question. I miss working with Durst a lot. Like Nick, and this is no BS. Like Nick was on it. He was always on it. And if you ever needed something like Nick, he got it done. Whether it was like a stupid clip that you thought was funny but really wasn't that funny, but you're thinking about posting it on your social media. Durst got it done. If there was, again, just as a silly self-serving question that you could have Googled yourself, but didn't want to do it, like Nick got it done. If there was a part to be played as a bodyguard in a wrestling bit on a Facebook Live show, like Durst got it done. So I loved working with him. Is he the biggest star that nobody's with it? What was the question? That the biggest star?
Yeah, right. Is he the biggest star that nobody has ever heard of?
Well, given how you guys have built this pod, and gotten some actual like heavyweights on here, maybe that question is solving itself as time goes along here. Just acknowledging facts here. Like I see the posts, I see the clips and the faces and the names. So, I don't know that nobody knows anymore.
All right.
Not sure.
A good answer.
I like that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You got it, brother.
Words. Maybe I'll clip that. Put that on my LinkedIn.
Has anybody answered that question? Like, what's the first app you open in the morning? Has anybody answered LinkedIn?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Okay. See, that's a branding marketing thing that LinkedIn has to solve. They got to figure that out.
Are you on LinkedIn though?
I have one for sure.
I don't think you're much on LinkedIn.
So again, just to tie it back to Eugene, I was there for 2 years. After the 2-year mark, the agency that Rep Lefko that eventually got me into Bleacher Report, Tracy Wilkes Smith, she was my very first agent. She reached out on LinkedIn, and that's how that happened. And I wasn't like posting actively on LinkedIn. So I can't tell you. So maybe I should be more appreciative of and active on LinkedIn. But yeah, that's the
LinkedIn for me. I post some of my highlights. I got to post the podcast.
Yes.
My last post that went pretty crazy was a picture. There's the picture of my interview with Colin Jost recently. And that blew up. It's still getting likes, but nothing's coming of it. So we'll see what happens.
So again, nobody knows who Colin Jost knows who you are.
He does.
Colin
It's true.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of people know who we are. Adam Schefter knows who we are. Rock Nation knows who we are. How does maybe there's some credence to what Nick.
Guess you never know who's watching, Joe. You never know.
Right.
So if history tells you anything, pretty soon I'll be working for the Dodgers, following Steven across the country. So what was it like heading back home to California? I mean, this is a big move across the coast. Obviously, you got to talk to your wife to make it happen, but there's no place like home, right?
No, there isn't. And I had I had really just resigned myself to the fact that I was going to be an East Coaster. The dream was always to be out on the West Coast, but every major sports network is based out East.
Mm-hmm.
And so being at BR for 4 years and then MLB Network for 5+, and living out there for almost a decade, we had just bought a house in West Orange, and so, we were putting our roots down. We had Kai, our first kid, and Corey was working nationally as a news anchor for NBC and MSNBC, and so this was our new reality, right? I wasn't living in the dreamland of anymore of coming out to California, and we were in that house all of like 9 months before we had to move because of the Dodgers. And you hit the nail on the head, man. It's not a small move. It's a true life changer in every sense, and so that doesn't happen without Corey, right? Because she had to sign off on that. If she wasn't, then we weren't going. And so for her to be so selfless to say, this is something you cannot say no to. You cannot turn down the Dodgers. If you turn down the Dodgers now, you turn them down forever. And you don't know another opportunity that you're going to have to go back to California, to go back to the West Coast. And so she jumped without hesitation and sacrificed everything to make this happen for me, really. But now, as a family, which has grown since then, or Cruz was born a month before the Durst family grew, and now I'm 30 minutes from my sister and my nephews, and my aunts and uncles and cousins are here, and we live a couple blocks from my folks, and there is no price tag on that, none. I could lose the Dodger job tomorrow. Please don't. I could, though, and I'd still be fulfilled personally, because family first always. And so, yeah, it's one thing to work for the Dodgers and one of the most iconic franchises in all sports. Another thing to be able to do it and then be home around my family again. Like that's the ultimate. The ultimate.
Now, I'm going to make a statement here. Nelson is not going to respond because I'll get him in trouble. And Joe, you could just move right on to the next question. But as Steven Nelson, being a good company guy, is leaving Secaucus, New Jersey, they did him dirty. He didn't get his goodbye show. They said go do the WBC or whatever, right? International, and that's kind of how it ended there out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that was it.
So
Now he's in LA.
no, I can address this. I appreciate you trying to look out for me, but I can't. I did have a farewell intentional talk. I did. And then I did like the 30 clubs in 30 days, or what, 30 and 15 now, because they're trying to save some more
penny
pennies.
pinchers over there.
Yep. That brand is definitely strengthening. So I did that, and then the World Baseball Classic, which I was very,
that was awesome.
I basically begged for that. I basically begged for that assignment. I was like,
how was it going to Japan?
That's the main voyage, man. Like, that's why I was like, I'm Japanese. I'm so proud of, my heritage and my culture, but I'd never been. I'd always, if we had time off in my career, it was going home to see family, or I was working. So I never, lived in that sense. And so to have work kind of take me to a place I always wanted to go, I took my family. My mom hadn't been since before I was born. So I took her and my dad, and that was, it was just a stirring experience. And so yeah, and then we went to Japan to start this year for the Tokyo series. So I'm obsessed with Japan now. I want to go back like as much as I can. There's like a fantasy where it's like, I just want to retire to the countryside in Japan one day.
Yeah. Was the flight from Los Angeles to Japan shorter than New Jersey to Japan? Because I'm guessing you go the other way around the globe.
Actually, you know what? So because I did the spring training thing.
Oh, so you're already on the West Coast.
I was already, I went Jersey to Arizona, and then we just, a little hopper from Arizona over to California, and we flew from California to Tokyo. I don't know what it would be if you were to go from Jersey or New York.
Brutal.
It's at least 20-something hour flight.
It wouldn't be a hop, skip, and a jump. That's for sure. But yeah, I you know what I am upset about? Like I got my farewell show. I didn't get my personalized bat for 5 years. So I was there for 5 years, and I didn't get a bat. So to see, and then Adnan, just flaunting that in my face. He didn't know. He doesn't know that I didn't get one. But he posted it, and like it was basically just like, you might as well just hit me in the face with that bat. AV because I didn't get one, and I'm still I honestly like every once in a while I'll be like, I should kind of email MLB Network HR and be like, hey,
Where's my bat?
where's my bat? Where's my bat? Just send
And
it.
there's room for it behind you, right? You can put it right above the logo.
Yeah, I can't believe that they haven't had you on Ballpark Cam and IT since you've been with the Dodgers.
You know what's fun? Like it is. Yeah, I think there's something to that conspiracy. I think I've been on MLB Network.
I'm sure there's a conspiracy about that.
One time since I left the network.
Every time I turn on MLB Network to watch MLB tonight, and I go to a Dodgers game, it's you. I've never heard Joe Davis once.
It's the scheduling quirks. It's the scheduling quirks.
So, one quick shout out because you mentioned your wife, right?
Yeah.
And how important she was and instrumental in the move. Big shout out to Nick's wife, who appropriately named the show. Now, I don't know if that mentioned all the way back 5 years ago on your first appearance, but I always make it a point of emphasis because, with how great Nick is and the booking and everything and the questions that he lays out and everything, you would think maybe he actually named the show too, but that's not necessarily the case. So
no.
Shout out, Nick.
How about this, Joe, while you're saying this, and you're very right, because we did a podcast before this, a person who was my wife was very interested in as well. I was telling her how great it went, and she wrote to me, because we were texting, she's upstairs with the baby. She wrote, what can I say except you're welcome? I said, I'm right. And she said, I'm the mastermind behind all this. And I said, yes.
Yeah.
So all that to say, Steven's got Corey. I got Rosalie. What are you waiting for, Joe? Gotta find somebody.
God almighty.
Wait, hey, Joe, based on your luck interacting with people at Dodger Stadium, perhaps your soulmate is waiting for you at the Ravine.
Well, Joe's a West Coast guy at heart.
Listen, I'm on like the Tupac side of things, right? Like, the East Coast, West Coast things. I like West Coast, right?
Where did that come from, Joe?
What a Yankee fan.
It kind of works, right?
There's your headline from this episode: a Yankee fan turning his back on Biggie. Unbelievable.
Oh boy. All right, so let's talk about part of the Dodger Stadium experience because as I was there, I mean, I had a great time. And, before we started the show, I was mentioning kind of the story behind it. And I ended up sitting in like bleacher seats with a nice family towards the end of the show and a nice set of kids. And they were giving me hell, but obviously they were losing at the time. Thankfully, I went to the one game in this series this year that they didn't get their doors blown off. But let's talk about raising your children in Los Angeles because, as you know, the traffic, always a problem around, but the sights and everything are beautiful. You have family over there, you have roots out there, so talk about after your family move, being able to like raise your children out there in a place that feels like home.
Yeah, so it's awesome. I will say, while we miss the energy of New York and New Jersey, nothing beats this climate. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Doesn't come close, man.
I was there 10 days about a month ago, and I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to come home. Why would I want to come home?
That's how my dad ended up out here, man. Like he lived in the suburbs outside Chicago, and he visited here in the early '80s, and he's just like, I can't go back. I don't want to go back now, and so he moved out here. And so now, like I said, for them to kind of grow up here, where we are south of LA. We're in Orange County. There's just a little bit more space. I grew up here. We moved to Orange County when I was like 7. So, we're back in OC and
that drive to Dodger Stadium, man, that's not great.
It's not as bad. It's not that bad. Like, man, I used to remember people commuting to Secaucus from Long Island. Like, you got to jump.
I know those people. Oh, yeah.
I mean, certifiable. Like, that's insanity. Schultzy, like, I mean, it's just like, why? But do you like, they can, that's the Stockholm syndrome of the tri-state area where you're like, yeah, it's 2 hours, hour 45. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And I'm like, no, that's terrible.
Yeah, I get annoyed going more than 30 minutes in the car.
Yeah. And so now, like, and some people do that on like the transit, like, LIRR and the Long Island Railroad or MTA or NJ Transit, like God bless, like that's crazy. So now for me, Friday games are terrible because Friday traffic it's bad no matter how early I leave. So going up there, that could take anywhere from like 50 minutes to an hour and a half, hour 20. But going home is always fine. Going home is always like 40, 45 minutes. So it's good. And I'm in my own little cone. I can, listen to the podcast or, catch the post game radio show.
Perfect time to listen to our podcast.
That's right.
Every
Yeah.
episode.
Going up, I'll listen to pods, and then, coming home, I'll listen to the post game show. So anyways, like, the weather's great. Like I said, like my boys they're best friends of their cousins, and you know what I mean. And so like again, there's just no price that you can put on that. They are Dodger fans. Like I think that is probably a little bit weird for my dad, but because that's all they know. It's like, oh, dad, daddy's going to work. Or daddy going to Dodger game? I want to go to the Dodger game, and so they're in Dodger blue. But I'm going to let them. I'm going to learn from my father's mistake, which was just, contracting me to a lifetime mostly of misery. I'm going to let them kind of spread their wings once they're like cognitive humans and can pick their own team. But for now, they're definitely bleeding blue.
So, Steven, before Joe gets on to this, because we're talking about being at Dodger Stadium, I'm really curious, what's your routine as far as when you get there? What are you eating? Are you drinking? Because you got to keep the voice good, but you don't want to have to go
Oh,
to the
okay.
bathroom and all that
I
stuff.
thought you meant booze, and I was like,
No,
that's
no, water, tea,
yeah.
all that
So
stuff. And
okay,
yeah, walk us through the day.
great question. So day one of a series, Rick Krajewski, we call him Dr. Krajewski. If you were to say it right, it's Krajewski, but I'm not Polish, so Krajewski it is. He is the Dodgers researcher and statistician. He went to college with Joe Davis at Beloit College, and so fellow D3 guys. And Rick is the best in the business. Like he will give you surface level notes, or he will take you deep into the weeds. And so every series, he does an entire packet for both teams, the opponent and the Dodgers. He does game notes for every game, which is more specific to the game, and then he does pitcher's notes for the starting pitching matchup. And again, just copious notes. So we're swimming in that. So the first day, I'm going through all those packets. I'm putting together, taking what I like. I use Pages on my Mac, and so I have a living, breathing document for every team, and I have a page for every player. And
During the
so,
game, quick Command F, type in the player's name.
Yeah. You
not
get an
even. I'll order.
encyclopedia, a modern day
Not
Rick
even.
encyclopedia.
Yeah,
Computer. That's
exactly.
awesome.
And it's
Alphabetical
so
order.
yeah. No, I'll do it by their batting. I'll do it by the batting order. So it's the starting nine. So then I'm just hitting the down arrow. And then the starter, and then I have I have the bench guys as well. I have a page just with like little notes on bullpen guys. So, and that'll evolve as the year goes, as the years it goes along, and they'll have anecdotes in there, stuff I'll pick up from conversations around the cage or in the clubhouse. I definitely still draw from stuff from interviews that I did at MLB Networks for some of these guys, um, and if I get to an anecdote in if I don't get to an anecdote in game one, then maybe I'll get it to then the next two games. Or if I don't, we'll see him again another time, and maybe there's a more appropriate a moment to share those stories. Because now with the pitch clock, things are going right, so you can't just force stuff. Like, hey, if it's a tight ball game, top of the seventh, like maybe the story about the guy's pet can wait. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the prep. Drive up to the stadium, get there between 4 and 3 hours early, depending on traffic. Get up there, set up in the booth. The Dodgers director of design, Ross Yoshida, he makes these custom scorebooks for us. So we have these, and they're personalized.
Wow,
And
look at that.
Oh, that
so
is nice.
That
this
is
is what
nice.
the scorebook looks like. And he tweaks it. It's a little different from last year, and that one was a little different from my first year. And so I fill out the scorebook, and then at that point, it's about time to go down for the manager's press conference, and then BP is happening. In this scenario, it's a home game, so the Dodgers have BP first. So go down there and talk to who I feel like I need to talk to, and then we are spoiled with the Dodgers. We were allowed to eat in the dugout club there at Dodger Stadium. And Durst, as a buffet connoisseur, as I know you are, as a buffet reviewer, maybe one day, well, you'll have to review the Dodger dugout club or Legends. It's basically that's the equivalent of Legends at Yankee Stadium.
You a Dodger dog guy?
I'm not. I'm not.
Interesting.
As a kid, I was, but now the body is a temple, Joe. It's a
Yes,
temple.
right. And you look
All
great.
right. Thank you. So it's usually, I'll get I'll usually get like a Caesar salad and throw a protein in there. So either if they have chicken or turkey, throw that in, dice it up, throw in the salad, shake it up, and then I'll have sample whatever else they got. I'll get a small tray of dessert. It's excellent dessert selection as well. Eric Karros, one of my partners, EK, is like the dessert fiend. He has an entire tray of desserts, and he critiques that. This is no joke. He let the head chef know. He's like, "Hey, you had the same dessert selection 2 days in a row." Like, so I think he's your kind of guy.
Okay.
Dirk. I think you appreciate.
Maybe we'll get Eric on the show to talk some food at some point.
Hey, and he's Jersey born. He was born in Hackensack. So
there we go.
But anyway, so I get the food. If I'm doing radio, I'll eat down there with Rick Monday, who's the analyst for the radio, 1981 World Series champion, beating the Yankees. Sorry about that, Joe. But he did lose to the Yankees. He did lose to the Yankees twice. So, you can't rub it in your face too much. So either eat down with Mo, or if I'm doing TV, I'll take it up to the booth. Eat, get makeup. It's a 7:10 game. We have a pregame hit at 6:40. So usually everything's got to be done before then. Do the pregame hit, and then I'll have a cup of hot water with, if there's lemon, great. But if there's not, just a splash of lemonade from the vending machine, whatever. Oh my gosh, what is it? Why am I blanking on that? That's the soda.
Yeah, the soft
dispenser.
soda machine.
Yeah. I forgot. I feel like there's a name for it, but anyway. You know what I'm trying to get? Just a splash of lemonade, and so that just to loosen up the pipes a little bit. And then it's room temperature water throughout the game. If it's cooler, then maybe our stage manager will be kind enough to run and go get another cup of hot water with a splash of lemonade, but room temp water. That I've had to learn. Because, for my entire life, I'm an ice water guy. I want cold. I want a cold beverage.
It's not good for the pipes.
Yeah, see, like even when I was hosting, I didn't have to worry about that because you're a sprinter, right? You're going for a half hour, an hour, maybe two if you were doing MLB Tonight or a big inning or something like strike zone, something like that. You could get through it with no matter what. But now I guess this year I'm going to do 125 games between TV and radio. Like now I'm learning a lot from Joe Davis with regards to vocal care. And that is certainly one of them, warm liquids or room temp liquids. So that's kind of the long and the short of it. What a day looks like.
Incredibly comprehensive and one of the best organizations.
You took up the entirety of our podcast talking about your day. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I mean, listen, again, one of the best franchises in sports, very clearly responsible, takes care of all of their employees. You can kind of see that, especially when you're walking into Dodger Stadium. It seems like every employee there is always happy to be there. It doesn't matter if they're outside doing security and letting people in. It doesn't matter if you're in the broadcast booth like you, doing what you get to do. You mentioned, speaking of pets from before, if the family got a dog, would you consider naming it Sable?
That's some like Nardwar Hot Ones stuff that you guys cook up again, man.
Listen, that was your childhood dog, Sable.
That's crazy. And Durst, like, I don't know that we
operates differently than everybody.
I don't know that we ever talked about that. Wild. Yeah. Our very first dog was named Sable. And
Joe didn't know that either when I told him to ask the question.
No.
It was an Akita, a Japanese dog, big Japanese dog. Akitas are awesome. We had, and our second dog was an Akita too. Her name was Hana, but our first one was Sable. Yeah. So growing up I grew up in Downey, California. So that's LA County. And um, my neighbor, my very first best friend was Paul Nahada. And so he is a Mexican family. And so they were diehard wrestling fans too. And so like I grew up like having all the WWF, now WWE action figures, and like I was a Diesel guy. He was my
Daddy cool.
Big Daddy
Yeah,
Cool.
Joe, you don't know the storylines we used to write for Facebook Live
Oh
on
man.
Bleacher Report.
So
We did intense WWE storylines.
yeah, so Big Daddy Cool and and obviously the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, those are my two guys. And but I would every pay-per-view, like Paul would have that over at his house, and so I'd go over there with his family and watch do the moves on like the giant teddy bear that we had. And yeah, so anyway, that's well researched. We do have a dog who's currently just passed out. Nashi.
Oh,
That's Nash.
Named
Nash.
after Rick.
Rick Nash. No, Kevin. No, I'm
Kevin.
kidding. I
Kevin
can't even.
Nash.
That would be funny if it was Kevin Nash. It's not. So he was. We adopted him when we were in New York, and he had come up from Tennessee, and so Nashville. We had a family
Nice.
trip to Nashville, so Nash.
Yeah.
But Kevin, but not. But I should have just sold it and said, yeah, after Kevin Nash. After Kevin Nash. That's excellent question. That's the I'm right that I remember. That's
That's what it's all about. Do you miss the East Coast food at all?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think like especially living in Manhattan, just a different not Manhattan, but you can go to Queens. This is New York in general. Like I mean, there's just so many great places. Not even just like the trendy ones that you find on like the Eater articles, like 25 places you got to eat in the West Village, or the 10 best spots in Astoria. Like, just so many options.
Yeah, I miss the options in the Bleacher Report kitchen with all those great snacks and drinks.
That's an excellent point. I like that was truly fantasy land. Like that ruined every job after. 'Cause
Starbucks
you're like,
machine, Joe
like wait,
Outfield, the
there's
energy drinks.
yeah, it's like, wait, you don't have Prosecco on tap here? The last place that I worked, they had Prosecco and beer and coffee and just a wide array of endless snacks. Like that is not a normal thing that is done in the professional world. So yeah, certainly the pizza. Not that there isn't like fine pizza here in Southern California. I know LA's pizza scene has improved over the years, but like it's not going to touch.
So there's one place you gotta go to out there. They are from Staten Island. They bring the water from New York out there. Danino's. You gotta go. They just opened up about a year or two ago. They're from Staten Island.
Do you need to text me this? Text me this name.
Okay. It's Joe. Danino's is good, right?
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the voice goes high, that's a lie.
Oh, he's
That's
lying.
great.
Oh.
That's great.
I like the Ninos.
All right.
I like Lee's a little better, but you
I
can't.
wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I mean, you can get genuine New York pizza out there in California. I would say that you gotta
Hey,
try.
all right, so let me ask you guys this: as East Coasters, as New Yorkers, like, do you concede that New Jersey and or Connecticut is better at doing pies than New York, or do you fight that assertion?
I would fight it. I've
You would
only had
fight
the
it?
Connecticut pizza twice, and it was okay.
Was it
You know
was New
what?
Haven?
I New
Yeah,
Haven.
everybody talks New Haven.
Everybody hypes up New Haven.
You know what? Jersey has some really, really good pizza spots,
Jersey's
some
got some good
really
pies.
good brick oven spots.
I will
So,
concede this though. There's two Dino's locations. There's a New York one, and there's a New Jersey one. The New Jersey one's better.
Well, I mean, they better thank you for this free advertising you're giving them right now.
Why don't they? We do have run of food. So if they want to have us to come in, we'll do an interview with the owner. and we'll go in the kitchen.
Now we're doing, the wheels are turning, multi-platform
Yeah.
distribution. I got it. Yeah.
But how much better is the burritos out there in SoCal? I
That
only hear
is,
like
yeah,
Chipotle's.
man. That's the one area that, like, in my experience, New York could never compete, was the Mexican.
Mexican food out there is, oh my God, the
It's
best.
just like, because in New York, like, I'll say, the place in Chelsea Market, Los Tacos #1, and then Los Mariscos, which is like tied to it next door. Like, that was the one spot where I was like, okay, this is pretty solid. This is really, relative to the rest of the city, it's excellent. But yeah, you're not touching Southern California, Mexican food. You're just not. It's just more authentic. It's not as, like, I don't know, dressed up with all the sauces and stuff, like, because the
Made
real,
there. It's
yeah, because
made
yeah, yeah, exactly. The real
yeah.
stuff, you're getting a tortilla, you're
I'm gonna have to
getting
get out
meat.
there one day to eat. And my
Yeah.
sister lives out there, so and have never been out to visit her.
See, so now you have the perfect excuse to visit. You got someplace to stay. I'm now volunteering your sister's house. I don't know where your sister.
Easier said than done, with the family and everything. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. I got you. So yeah, the
I
burritos and
can't. We can't all be
tacos.
like Joe, who's hopping a flight. Going over to Culver City, meeting with the Fox executives, and heading over to Vegas. I mean, heading to
Sorry
see
about
you.
it.
So
Heard about it. We'll talk more about it. Steve, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you were ever approached with an opportunity to do play-by-play broadcasting for golf, would you take that opportunity or would it interfere too much with what you have
Ooh.
going on?
Um, I've long thought about that, like, because at one point my dream was to work for the Golf Channel. So yeah, I think I'd like the challenge, because it's so different from the two sports that I've done. And well, three. I've done a little bit of football, right? With BR, we did some of
high
those
school.
Facebook Live games, but like the high school games, right? So that's not like big time college, or certainly not the NFL. Not even small time college. It's high school, literally. And so, but just from an energy standpoint and mechanics standpoint, like, that's just so different. And I haven't done it, so I would love to see the challenge. Like, golf is, listening to, whether it's Nance or Hicks or Terry Gannett, like, they have some really good voices that handle golf play by play. So without ever having been in a booth, one of my first mentors, and really the guy who kind of sold me on this path, I sat in on his class at Chapman when he was an adjunct professor and I was a high school student, was Bill McAtee. Bill's gotten out of the industry since then, but longtime CBS guy, and worked the towers and the course at Augusta during the Masters coverage. And so, yeah, I think I would love that challenge one day. Right now, as we sit here right now, like, I miss hockey with all of my being. I really do. Like, I miss calling.
Well, listen, I got a little
Yeah,
idea for you, Steven. This February coming up, it's going to be a little bit of a downtime. The hot still will be done. It's almost going to be, you're going to be at spring training, maybe not
yeah,
fully.
right.
NBC is going to be carrying Olympic hockey. They don't have a team anymore. They don't have hockey. So,
Well,
the agent on the phone,
yeah, yeah. No, it's a great thought. It's a great idea. It's definitely the those conversations within our household have been going on for a while. I will say, like, the NBC people are phenomenal. Have gotten to meet some of them over the years. Um, they are also, like, it seems, incredibly loyal to their people. So
oh yeah,
even though that they don't have the same team under
I
contract.
expect Kenny Albert to be there.
Well, Kenny at this point is doing everything for every single network. Kenny
Yep.
is, wasn't that long ago, I'd sent him a text. I mean, a million games, and that's not what it was, but
But we
it might
had
as
him
well
on.
be.
We was in his office. I'm like, how do you, where keep track of where you're going? He's pulling all these papers and sheets. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's a broadcast freak, Kenny Albert.
Yep.
So I imagine Kenny's going to be there. Like, Brent, if you got a chance to get Brendan Burke and it doesn't
Adam.
interfere with
Adam,
Allen, yeah, right, right. So it's like, no, 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 no. I'm saying, if you're NBC, if
They
you have a
have
chance
a
oh
to
yeah,
bring
chance
him
to get
to
him.
bring him back,
Well, I mean,
to
the
get him
Islanders won't be
back.
playing, so he should be available.
Oh, oh,
What do you
wait,
mean? The
what?
Islanders won't be playing. They're going to take a break for the Olympics. They're going to have the
Oh, that's
NHL
right.
players
That's
there.
right. That's right. That's right. That's a fair point. So yeah, I
I will say, I mean, the big thing here is no Liam McHugh anymore. He was the studio guy. So could
but
they?
again, who's to say that they don't bring him back, right? Like it's
You don't know. We'll see.
don't know. Again, would I love to be there?
Knock
100%,
on wood.
absolutely.
Listen, I know the
Yeah,
Olympics are going to be right in your backyard in 2028, but you'll be too busy with baseball, so that's
okay.
not going to happen.
Just let the record show. It's, I would sign up for all of this yesterday. Are you kidding me? Like if they were like, "Hey, Steven, would you be?" Yes, they don't even need to
We got
finish
to
the rest
speak
of
it
the
into
sentence.
existence, right, Joe?
Yes.
Manifest, yeah.
Manifest.
So I would love to be a part. Yeah, does the algorithm? Well, let's speak into our phones because these, they're always. I would love to be a part of NBC's Olympic coverage for both hockey in 2026 and baseball in 2028, just in case anybody's listening.
Hey,
Yeah.
maybe don't limit yourself to baseball.
That was always, what's funny, Durst? Like you probably remember this, but Mark Cohn, he was the executive at Bleacher Report when we were there,
Yep.
and Cohn's now with Overtime. Him and Lefko would joke incessantly. They're like, Nelly, you're gonna we see you doing the Olympics one day. Like you're gonna do the Olympics one day. And so I would love to, on the podcast called I'm Right. I would love to prove them right
Yeah.
and do that. Like that would be cool.
Who doesn't want to do the Olympics? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, it'd be huge.
seriously.
So you conquered another dream. You joined ESPN, filling anchor for SportsCenter in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. How awesome was that?
Oh,
How much of a bummer was it when ESPN closed the doors in Los Angeles?
Oh, yeah. So that was, earlier, Joe, you mentioned the dream come true. That was the dream come true. I mean, because we're a part of the generation that still looks at Sports Center in a certain way. It's just different for us, man. Like, because that's what we grew up with. That's what we grew up on, and that shows what bonded us to sports. And whether in the morning before school or at night after dinner, like that was the show for all of us. And so to be able to sit on that set and look over and see Linda Cohn, who's done more Sports Centers than anybody in the history of that show, or look over and see Stan Verrett, who is a legend as well. Like it was just sort of.
Golf buddy, Stan.
That's right. That's right. And then now to call both of them friends and just kind of have them in the cell phone, like that's what, like I'm afraid to text them every now and again because I'm like, this seems I shouldn't be texting Linda Cohn or Stan. Like I shouldn't be doing that. But like that was the ultimate experience. And not just them on the set, like the crew that worked in LA at the LA Production Center at LA Live is it. I wish y'all could have gotten just a night in that newsroom in that bullpen because that's what it should be. It felt like a local news station, but on like the biggest national level at a sports network. It was just a camaraderie. It was fun. It wasn't stressful. It was stress free, and everybody just pulling on the same side of the rope, like giving each other shit, like talking shit and watching games. Like it was everything I dreamed
Yeah.
working on Sports Center would be like. So to be able to say that, I climbed that mountain, that is something I'll forever be proud of. And yeah, it was a huge kick in the shorts to know that they were, moving it back to Bristol and, they're going to be moving back to Bristol full time. So
Had to be really rough for Stan, who's got to go back to Connecticut.
yeah, well, yeah, and Stan has come out and said that he's not that. So he because his life is here in LA
Yep.
now, and so truly an end of an era, as they say. And again, if I'm lucky enough to be called upon to come out to the mothership in Bristol, I would love to. But yeah, at the very least, experiencing ESPN LA and SportsCenter Los Angeles, that was the thrill of thrills.
All right. Let's play a game.
Game time.
Couple of names in front of me. One word to describe each. You ready?
Oh, God, I'm terrible at these games. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be necessarily a word that describes them. It could be something that you associate with them.
Okay, got it.
Stan Verrett.
I'm going to be measured. Do you, unless you want rapid fire. Do you want me to think, or do you want me to rapid fire?
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire or legend? Yeah, legend. He is like, and also, how do I put this? Like competitor. He is, he like in everything. Like he wants to write the best highlight. He wants to do the best stand up. If there's a mistake in the show, he wants to clean it up. On the golf course, competitor. So like being around that, like it makes you want to be better at whatever it is that you're doing because you want to match that of Stan.
Adam Lefko.
Oh, my brother. That's Lefko. I truly do love that man. I don't have I don't have the job at Bleacher Report without him. And another person that elevated my game because his energy, his wit, unmatched. It's unmatched. He's just a different breed. And when I would come to the studios every day, like I couldn't be Lefko, right? You got to be yourself, but I knew that I had to match that energy at the very least. Yeah, and so yeah, proud to have been in his orbit because he's a special one.
Chris Sims.
The absolute best. So I talked about my audition at BR. I fly in from Eugene, sweating bullets, get to this hotel above Central Park. I got the audition the next day. We had gotten kind of a general sense of the topics or what the run of show was going to be. It was going to do a couple videos, NBA, and then a couple football videos with Sims. I maybe slept like 2 hours that night, maybe. Went to the studio, again, nervous as hell, never been through an audition before. And then Sims just burst through the double doors that we had entering the BR studio. It's like, all right, motherfuckers, let's do this. And it was just like, as he said, it was just like this exhale
Yeah.
of like, all right, like this ain't that serious. Like, let's just talk some ball.
Who did your MLB Network audition?
And when we network audition was Jamie Hirsch.
Oh wow! So two hosts together.
Yeah, it was Jamie Hirsch, Al Leiter.
Wow.
Al Leiter was the analyst, and so James, obviously became a close friend. And I just texted Al yesterday because the Dodgers drafted his nephew Cam. So, yeah, and every now and again, I'll drop Sims a line, and yeah. So I'm doing more than I'm giving you a word and then kind of the backstory behind it. But Sims is the absolute best. A guy that, like, let's just be real, like he has every excuse to be a silver spooner, right? Because
Yeah.
he grew up as Phil's kid and, never wanted for anything in his life, but that is not how he goes about it. He treats, whether you're the president of a network or you're the intern just starting that day, he treats you the same. And that's how it should be.
Kevin Millar.
Huh. Uncle Kevin. Uncle Kevin. Uncle Kevin. That's so I talked about taking over for Rosie and how difficult that was for from my vantage point. You can only imagine how difficult it was for Kevin because Chris Rose and Kevin Millar, they one and the same. They built IT together, and I'm coming in sort of uneasy about the whole situation. Like Rose talked, his contract wasn't renewed, and now the fans are pissed, and like. Me and Adnan were filling in, and everybody hated both of us. It seemed like, on Twitter. And Kevin was he was so reassuring. He was so validating and so encouraging. He's just like, hey, man, this is your show now. This is your show now. Like, I know this is tough. I know this sucks. Rosie's going to be okay. You have to know that. So now it's just like, let's fucking go and have some fun. And, that was all I needed to hear. And the way I see him with his family and how he is with all of his kids and his wife Gina, and how much care he put into Corey and I and Kai, or as we call him Baby Bob because we didn't have a name for Kai right off the bat, and so when they announced it on the show, they're like, we're calling him Baby Bob. Bob's his name, and so like he still asks for pictures of Baby Bob, and Bob's he calls me Bob's dad, and so yeah, Uncle Kevin.
Oral Hershiser.
Pooh, Bulldog. He's hmm, word for oral.
Bulldog, you got it. Nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's his nickname. That's a cop out. That's a cop out. Um, Oral has been he's been like I'll call him Big Brother. I'll call him Big Brother because he wouldn't like me calling like he's really more like drunk uncle. But but I'll call him Big Brother. That's a guy who has like gone out of his way to try and bring me along. When I got the job, he was the second person to call me. Charlie Steiner was the first, and so Oral called me and he's like, "Look, the Dodger fans like I can do no wrong to them," which he's right. So my job is to make them love you, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. And he's stayed true to his word. He'll call me after we do games together, and he won't just pump my tires or gas me up. He'll say, "Hey, like let's work on this, or you could do this a little bit better, that a little bit better." And he's like, "Make it your own." But like this is something that I've noticed. He is just he's just a touch of class. But he has been like a big brother and looking out for me, coming over and taking this job.
Last but not least, Adnan Verk.
AV. Excellence. Excellence is the first
Excellent.
word.
The workhorse. He's
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. Asian excellence that was the thing we used to say together. So excellence is what I think of when I think of Adnan. Like that dude, he means more to me than I think he realizes. He's one of those trailblazers that we have. We talk about representation mattering in this world, and being able to see it so you can be it. Like Adnan was one of those guys where it's like to see someone like him or Michael Kim or the list goes on. For me, for all these Asian American Pacific Islander broadcasters kind of paved the way for us. Like, yeah. So then to work with him, befriend him, like he's just he's a special one. He's a real one too. And like I don't know that I've ever seen or heard Adnan have a bad day. And we all do. So he has one. He and Eamon, they got their house full, right? So and they're juggling a lot. So days are tough. But
No
he's
more
always.
kids. He asked them that.
What's that? Yeah,
Not
no,
having kids.
no more. Yeah, I no, no more. And so like, but for him, he's always laughing. He's always smiling, and like that's the type of energy that you want to be around all the time.
Yeah, it's
And so,
contagious.
yeah, it really is, man. It really is. So he is just he's an excellent human being, and I love him.
Absolutely. And some of the funnest stuff in my career has been being in your ear and his ear during
Yeah,
shows.
yeah. I mean, you if you hear Adnan Verk's laugh, you're
It's the
you're
best.
laughing too. I was like, I don't even know what's happening, but this is hilarious. Like it's just
Great laugh.
that's honestly that's like I feel like that's one of the best compliments you can give somebody is that like that's who you want to be around.
No doubt about it. All right, Steven, our last question. You had to know
Last one.
in your life or your career, what has been your I'm right moment? What I mean by that, a time or place where you wanted to pursue something, you asked somebody for advice. They said, "That's a bad idea. Don't even try it. What are you crazy?" And you were like, "You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway." And in the end, you will see why it is that I'm right about this. And I can tell you, I told you so.
Hmm. Let me think about that. That's a great question. That is a great question.
It's a good question when it's somebody
Yeah.
who talks for a living is stumped and is
Yeah, and I'm
speechless.
speechless. So the hearing that question, the first thing I thought of and this is something I always tell broadcast students or young broadcasters. We grew up in a culture where haters is like a known and common part of our lexicon, right? Like prove the haters wrong, prove the doubters wrong. And what I always say is like, no, no, no. Look at the people who have been in your corner and who have supported you, who have fed you, taken care of you, mentored you. Prove them right because they saw something in you that either you didn't see in yourself at the time or you didn't fully believe in yourself at the time. Prove them right because that's no small thing when you have somebody take some time out of their day to watch your reel and send you a couple thoughts. When you have somebody who introduces you, hey, like takes you under, hey, come along, like I'm going to introduce you to somebody. Or you just have somebody love on you, you know, your parents or your siblings or your best friends, and just be like, hey, man, like I'm here for you. Like prove those people right. Like don't waste your energy on name and a million numbers handle on Twitter telling you you're dog shit and you're not worth it because they're projecting something going on in their own world. That's a simple fact of it. And so don't put any drops in their bucket, put it in the right one. So like that's, you know, you talk about, I'm right moment. Like for me, the way I view that question a little bit differently is like, I don't know that I'm always going to be right. More often than not, I'm going to be wrong. But in whatever I do and how I do those things, it's all with the design of making sure that I prove the people who believed in me, prove them right. Because if you're an asshole, if you're not a good teammate, then you're disrespecting every single one of them. So that's I was trying to think of a specific moment, like yada yada, but like I just kept coming back to
That
that.
works.
Yeah. So
Follow that feeling. That feeling will ultimately be right. It'll lead you in the right direction.
yeah.
A lot of wisdom. Last thing from me here briefly, and then we're gonna finally get you out of here. You gave us over one really, really good hour on very short notice, less than 2 hours notice. Don't think we don't appreciate that, Stephen. We do. But I did research your birthday, right? And it did come up on the rundown, so I had to make sure of this. You are born in 1989. It's 2025 here. So as the astrology person here, I don't know if that's necessarily ingrained in your culture, but it is the year of the snake, right? And you were born in a snake year. It's the year of the snake. So usually snakes, more so than any other zodiac sign on the eastern side of things, actually thrive in their own year. So I think the buildup for the last couple of years, you being able to move back to California, uh,
Mm.
undergone a lot of changes, a lot of really great changes for you and your family. Is there any other piece of wisdom that you could give us, before we let you go as your last words?
Wow. Again, I am the year of the snake, 1989, well researched again. Last piece of wisdom. Hmm. Man, I'm gonna try and not steal from the last answer because really the thing that I want to say is like don't be an asshole. It's
But if I
it is because it's like this day and age it's become way too easy for folks to act that way. Um, and then it baffles me. It really does. Um, I'll try and think of something a little bit more profound than that. Um, yeah, I think so. Another one that I've come to appreciate over the years is be where your feet are. I think it's we all have aspirations and goals in this life and this career of places we want to go and things we want to accomplish. But if you're always kind of looking off in the distance, like you're going to sell yourself short on what's right in front of you. And so for me, even now, like I'm just so beyond lucky to have done really everything I could have ever asked to or dreamt to do in this business. But like obviously like the job's not finished and still want to get better and I still would like to call more big games or call an Olympics or work an Olympics. But when I'm at home, I'm not looking out there. I'm kind of looking down at my kids, and Kai's going to be 4 in a couple of weeks. Cruz just turned 2, and I know that I'm going to look up and look down one day, and they're going to be teenagers and kind of doing their own thing, and I'm gonna like miss this time. So being where my feet are, and with Corey and our kids, and not selling myself short on these moments and these memories, even though I know that there are other things that we want to accomplish professionally. So, and I would say that to any, again, a young broadcaster, you can apply that too. It's like if you're in, market 178 and you're like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to make it to an insert national network here? Or am I ever going to work for insert favorite team there? Well, if you're not locked in on, sharing the story that is, on your schedule today, at the local high school or at the local university, and editing the best piece that you can, or doing the best stand up that you can, then you're going to miss out. So yeah, be where your feet are.
Steven, this has been great. I can't wait to post a social media clip of you talking about the Olympics while you're not necessarily in Milan broadcasting them. They're probably sending you to Connecticut. You'll go in a little
Yeah,
closet like you did with the World Juniors. That's the style these days. But I'll post it and we could say, oh,
unfortunately.
look, Steven, he talked about it back in July. And here we are, 7 months later. It happened. Steven, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for your support over the years. It's been a pleasure.
Oh,
This is going to do it here for this episode of You Know I'm Right. For our very special guest, Steven Nelson, my co-host, Joe Calabrese. I'm Nick Durst, and this has been You Know I'm Right.